It was our government that was consistently raising their hand in veto of a kind of an international, the UN calling for a ceasefire. You mentioned, this is a headline from the AP. It says Netanyahu vows to invade Rafah with or without a deal. And so again, like when you talk about negotiating in bad faith, and so here we are trying to negotiate a ceasefire and the hopes, right? And this is even the hopes of, according to the at least the spoken hopes of Biden and Bilkin and kind of those foreign policy folks, is to not invade Rafah, understanding that like they don't want more Palestinian deaths. So trying to stop Netanyahu from invading Rafah, and then so to come out and say, even if there's a ceasefire deal, you're still going to invade Rafah, then why should we make a deal with you? And it is wild to see, like, you know, again, like Netanyahu and others kind of given this stage to speak and very little pushback. But then here is the USC's valedictorian, right? And this sister's name is Asna Tabassum.
There you go.
I worked on that. I practiced that like in my mind a lot.
Hooked on phonics, man.
Yes, Asna Tabassum, who is simply she did the work, right? She did the work of becoming the most decorated student graduating this year to be valedictorian, but because she is somebody that was critical of the United States policies and the Israeli government's policies in Palestine, they not only won't let her speak, they literally canceled the whole commencement ceremony. And what's so wild about this is these are the same students whose ceremonies were canceled in 2020 because of COVID, because this is 2024.
They took all the rights away.
So can you imagine? And it's simply be like, and this is the thing, like, think about she done been on all the major news shows, right?
Right, yeah.
You could have just let her say her piece. That video would have been shared and everybody would have moved on.
Right.
And people might have remembered her name, and I'm sure she would say some very, very profound things because she has been. Clearly, this is a brilliant young woman. But would it have been all of this? And again, it's the same thing. If you just let these students camp out and have their protests and just leave them alone, would it have even spiraled to the place where it is now, where now Columbia has to cancel, literally, like, they shut the whole campus down.
Yeah.
Other colleges around the country shutting their campuses down. People barricading themselves in different places. And it's like, I just don't understand, other than like, well, this is America, right? You want to oppress, bomb, harm, and take from people because that's how we got here in the first place.
Yeah, I think that the problem, everybody did stuff right. They protested. They engaged their elected officials. They did the polls that said over 70% of people want a ceasefire.
Yes.
They pointed out that Israel and Hamas had violated all of these conventions.
Yes.
People said, let's go to the ICC, let's go to the ICJ. They did everything, and the president went around Congress and said, I'm going to do this.
True.
Last week, it was revealed that our own U.S.-based lawyers have said that Israel has violated multiple human rights violations. This is mind-boggling. We should be advocating for a diplomatic solution in Israel. We should be advocating for a democratic state. And instead, we're like, you know what? We may just go ahead and create World War III, and we may just go ahead and just possibly kill over 1 million people and just act like we somehow couldn't stop it.
What's fascinating is, and I want to come to you, Trouble and Farouk, is one, these young people from all over the country and many at these like elite universities are saying like not in our name, not with our money, and kind of coming together to make that stance. And then on the other side of that is this election that's coming down where, you know, the Democrats particularly are going to supposedly need this young group to kind of fend off a possible new Donald Trump presidency. So it's almost like when they say like between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
We're like between like a boulder and like what's like aluminium or whatever. What's the hardest metal you can possibly think
diamond
of?
Is
right?
the hardest substance
yes,
on the man. Yeah,
diamond and a. I mean, it's crazy right now. So, just what's your take on everything, Trouble?
One thing I want to say is that I admire every single person who put their education on the line to speak out against something that they don't believe in.
Could you say that sentence again, though?
I want to just give props to everyone who put their education on the line.
That part right there.
To stand up for what they believe in. And I think it's crazy that their education even is on the line in the first place, because they're coming to these institutions to learn to think for themselves, to learn critical thought, and to pretty much utilize that to shift this country and this world and be leaders of thought and stuff like that. I also think it's wild that you have Joe Biden running for president again, not taking, accountability and protecting these students and giving them the space they need to speak up against his inaction.
Absolutely.
You would think that he would take more of a concerted effort to be like, you know what, okay, let's meet their demands. If we're not going to meet their demands, let's at least hear them out. You know what I'm saying? But he's pretty much like, yo, do what you got to do.
Yes. This is one piece. It says Joe Biden condemns Columbia student occupation as Gaza protests intensify. So again, here's the White House basically saying, it says President Joe Biden, this is the White House spokesman, Andrew Bates, respects the right to free expression, but protests must be peaceful and lawful. It says forcibly taking over buildings is not peaceful, it's wrong, and hate speech and hate symbols have no place in America. You know what I'm saying?
But he didn't say that on January 6th, though.